Hi everyone. This is going to be the week 1 applied mobility virtual group training tutorial video, essentially. Movement introduction video. You can think of it that way. I will be going through all of the movements in this routine for this week, and then there will be another video that will be a follow along. So this one's going to be nice and slow, just talk through everything. First movement of this routine, something I like to call tuck breathing. You're going to get on the ground with your feet approximately a foot or so from your hips, just enough that you can feel like your whole spine is nicely set on the ground. And then you're going to think about having your chest open up as much as you can. Your ribs should kind of settle downwards, and you're going to focus on your breathing. It's a nice big inhale, filling into the stomach, and then big exhale, pulling downwards. Your ribs should kind of move towards your pelvis. And then big inhale. The goal here is to just think about letting yourself melt into the ground. So you're trying to just spread the chest, let your whole body sink down into the ground. So the point, right, you're trying to relax as much as you can. Big inhales and big exhales. So next one up from here is extended breathing. So you're going to go from this position, take one leg at a time. You're going to push it forwards, keeping weight slightly on the ground, so you can kind of just tap, move the heel out till you're fully extended. Right, you're still locked down. You still want to have that same contact with the ground with your spine. So if you're out here and you can't hold this, you like lose the back form, just come back until you can get that, and then try again. Or if you can't go any further, that will be where you're at, and it's the full extension for what you can get to. Once you're in that position, you're going to take your arms, you're going to reach up, and you're going to let them come down behind you, and then you're still reaching that way as far as you can. You're going to feel that stretch in your armpit region, in your chest, maybe in your back. And then from here, maintaining that reaching through your hands, through your feet. Obviously try and get somewhere you have full range. You're not touching the wall, touching anything. You're going to breathe here. Same breathing into the belly and then down as far as you can. The ribs should come towards the pelvis. Nice big inhales and big exhales. Trying to allow your hands to gently sink down while maintaining that full extension. So you're reaching. Even if you get to the ground, you don't want to let it completely relax. You want to still be trying to extend, keeping that tension so that you're feeling that stretch all the way through this region. Next up is pelvic tilt. So you're back to here, the legs fairly close to the hips. It's going to be the same position as the tucked breathing. And then you're going to take your pelvis, you're going to tilt it away from you. So you're creating a space under your low back here. Take a big inhale, again, into the abdomen. And then you're going to tilt down until you contact the ground, giving yourself a nice deep exhale as you do that, feeling your abs tighten up. Hold this squeeze. So tilt away, hold briefly, and then tilt down. Tighten, squeeze. Your abs should be fired real hard. Tilt away. Notice my head comes down. I'm just letting that be relaxed. And then to the ground. So it should feel almost like you're pulling your pelvis, your tailbone into the ground, getting this arch here. Your whole spine kind of shifts downwards, and then you let it come back. Next up is wishbone kicks. So from this position, find that weight on your pelvis, right under your hip crease, and spine contact. You're going to lift your legs off the ground, like so. Heels together, toes together, knees at 90, hips at 90. From here, you're going to open your heels out to the sides, trying to feel that in the outside edge of your hips. If it's too intense, just come back, move a little gentler. From here, you're going to extend, you're going to point and curl your toes down, and then flex and flare your toes as much as you can. And then leg comes down. Extend and point and curl, down, flex, and then down. So just back and forth with that. Extension, point, squeeze, down, flare, here. And you're just breathing calmly. Exhale, and then you can inhale on the way down. So just back and forth with that, pushing your leg, trying to keep this 90-degree angle here, and then come down. What we'll do next is rocking sit-ups. So from here you can start either in the ground position or in this bent sit position. That's personal preference where you want to get started. Sometimes it's easier to start up here. You want to think you're extended as far as possible, so you're trying to make yourself very tall through the back of your head, and then you're going to just rock down. Your knees come up. You're feeling this rounding here. You don't want to smack the back of your head, so if you can keep your head tucked, it's a little better. And then you roll back up. So if you can't roll all the way back up, if you can just go to here, that's totally fine. You want to just be feeling that rounding and flexing of your spine. You want to try to get all the way up, get into that full seated position, nice and tall, and then down, and then exhale. Right? But again, if you can't get all the way up, that's totally fine. So if you're here, it's just exhale. But you want to make sure, whichever format you can get to, you're not smacking your head on the ground, because it's going to hurt. So you're going to keep kind of like you're looking almost at your hips or your heels or just somewhere down. That will encourage that slight head tuck. That will keep you from smacking your head, because that's uncomfortable and you don't want to do that. So extend, and then you're rounding just a little bit. That's what will allow you to roll. Next up, the 90-90 twists. So we're going to get into this bent sit position, which is what you'll be rolling into goal-wise. And then from here, come to one side. So you want to have your knee at 90 degrees, and this knee at 90 degrees as well. The goal is to put weight into the hip with the inside of your leg down. So the one that is going to feel tighter on that side. You're going to sit up as tall as you can. If you need to, you can place hands to support you to shift your body weight more into this hip. We'll take a breath. And then your transition by rolling over to the other side. Up nice and tall again, totally fine to have your hands down, pushing so you can get your weight down on this side, and then transition. So you're holding each side approximately 2 to 3 seconds. Calmly breathing as you transition back and forth. Right. Back and forth. So the difficulties with this one is maintaining the double 90. It's going to be very easy to get your feet flexed in like this, and then it's much harder to do that roll properly. So you want to make sure you're just kind of checking in on that 90-90 position each time, just to make sure that I'm doing this in the order I have it written. Yes, okay. So next up is a kneeling bridge. Now if you have any knee problems, there's an alternative called a shoulder bridge. I'll demonstrate immediately afterwards. But you can also just like pillow, roll up a yoga mat, something for your knees if you have troubles with this. So what you're going to do here is, from this tall kneeling position, knees are hip width, feet are hip width. You're going to come back and put your hands on the ground. So your thumbs are pointing forwards, pushing the ground down, making a big chest. What we're going to do here is tuck the ribs, squeeze the glutes, and then push your hips up and then down. Exhale, inhale. So just back and forth with this, making sure you're pushing through your chest. You're trying to open up this space. I'm going to go over here just so that the light's a little better. Sometimes I know I get dark in that corner. So pushing, big chest, right? You don't want to have where you're arching the back really hard and you're leading with your belly. You want to think you're leading with the crease of your hips and your pant line. So that's the point you're trying to get as high as possible. You're squeezing the glutes and then down. Now, again, if you have knee problems or ankle problems or anything that might prevent you from doing that, the shoulder bridge is a very good alternative. So you're here on the ground, same starting position you've had for several of these movements, and then you just push the hips up. Again, thinking about leading the pant line. Exhale, inhale. So the focus here is squeezing the glutes. And you're driving up, holding that for your full exhale, inhaling down, feeling the rib cage settle too. So if you're here and then you do this, where your rib cage stays up, you're creating space under the low back. It's very hard to re-get the glutes to go. You want to think the ribs move down too. You're finishing with that full spinal contact. Next up, tabletop wrist warm up. So you're going to start in a tabletop position, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. Now, if this is uncomfortable to be in, you can come back here, and this is a totally fine alternative. In fact, if this is the first time you're really doing weighted stuff on your hands in a while, I would suggest being very close. And what you're going to do, splay the fingers as much as you can. So you're trying to just open them up real big. You're going to plant the into the ground and you're going to push the ground away from you. And then you're going to make gentle circles of your torso over your wrists. So you're feeling your weight distribute on all your fingertips, through your palm, thumb, all the knuckles. So just big circles. Try and keep your low back nice and extended, right? So you don't want to be rounding and then flaring because that's cat-cow. You want to try and just hold the spine in extension so you can really feel that load into the hands. You're going to go the other direction. Again, really focusing on feeling that weight shifting in its distribution. And then from there, once you get both of those ones done, take the hands, you spiral them, so your thumbs are pointed outwards, fingers are down towards the knees. You plant it again, and then it's the same motion. This time you're just going to feel it in a different part in your forearms. Nice big circles here. Right, the further you have the hands forwards, the more weight you're going to put into it, and the more stretch you're going to be able to get. So play around with your distancing there. That's how you make it harder or easier. Next up is tabletop shoulder rotations. So same tabletop position. I'm going to go this direction so you can see what I'm doing here. You push the ground away, and then from here, keeping the fingers splayed, keeping weight down, especially on the pointer knuckle. So right here, you want to keep weight pushed into the ground on that one because that's where it's going to want to come up. You're going to twist so that your elbow creases pointing forwards. Relax and twist. You want to feel that twist all the way up into your shoulder blades. Giving that an exhale and inhale. Make sure you're pushing the ground away. If you're sagged like this, you're not going to get that same rotation. So you want to engage as you twist. That's what's going to make that really effective. You're going to feel that down into the armpits. I did the shoulder rotations. Just going to check one more time. Make sure this order is correct. Cat cow, front squats. Okay. Ooh. So next up, cat cow. So once you've finished that spiraling, you'll be in your tabletop position. Make sure this time that you are fully stacked, right? Shoulders and hips. And then from here, you're going to think, as you exhale, your sternum goes as high as possible. Your chin tucks to your chest. And you squeeze the glutes. You can inhale. You bring your hips up high. You bring your sternum as low to the ground as you can. And tighten your abs. Big inhale. And then exhale. Squeeze the glutes. Push the sternum up high. Head to chest. Inhale. Chest goes low. Head goes up. Abs are tight. Back and forth. Trying to get that distance here and the distance here. Now try not to let yourself get into a push-up. You want to keep your arms fairly locked out when you're doing this. And the reason I say try and flex your abs when you're going down, which might feel a little uncomfortable, is you don't want to have this just drop and relax. So you don't have to really like squeeze super hard. You just want to make sure you're holding a little bit of tension here, so that you are not just letting that fully relax. From the cat cow, the next one is going to be frog squats. So you're going to go, I would advise if you're on the yoga mat, rotating 90 degrees so you can get your knees nice and wide. So you're going to have your feet down flat on the ground. Knees are wide enough that you feel a little bit of a stretch in this starting position here. I like to come down to the ankles or to the elbows, but if you do not have the range of motion to get there yet, it's totally fine to be up in this position. What you're going to do from here is you're going to shift your hips backwards, keeping an arch to the low back. You feel a stretch in your groin. Come back to your neutral position and move forwards, squeezing the glutes. Get into that groin stretch. Neutral, backwards, and forwards. So just back and forth through that, calmly breathing the whole time. I like to exhale forwards, inhale neutral, exhale backwards. Right, so you change the width here, and if you don't have as much groin range, you get your knees closer, and you can be up on the arms, you can be back, right? You don't have to do a lot of movement here. It's really easy to find that groin stretch whenever orientation is comfortable. Again, this can be a little unpleasant on the knees, so if you want to use a pillow, roll up the mat, get more padding in whatever fashion you want to, that is totally fine. And the frog squats, we've got the T-spine rotations up next. So the T-spine rotations, tabletop. You're going to take your hand, you're going to put either on the back of your head or knuckles to your temple. Either way is fine. Back of the head is a little bit easier because you don't have to support your arm weight. I'm going to go knuckles to temple though. What you're going to do from here is going to bring your elbow to your other elbow. And then your elbow as far upwards as you can. This hand should have your elbow twist, so you crease it forward, you're pushing into the ground. You're coming up, you're driving that, feeling this arch all the way up. So you don't want to have your hips pushed forwards as though you're in that cat rounded position, because that's going to make it really hard to rotate here. You want to get that slight arch. And then as you're coming up, you're feeling that in the chest, the torso, upper back. Inhale. And exhale. Right? This hand should almost be driving backwards that way while you're pushing into the ground, because that's really going to help you open up in that rotation. Just go through one arm at a time, do that full sequence, and then you switch arms. Right, and again, really focus on what your back's doing and maintaining that little bit of abdominal tension. Again, it's not trying to like clamp down super hard. It's just maintaining the tension in your abs so that you don't lose that. Last one up, tabletop head warm up. So tabletop position, pushing the ground away, elbow creases are forwards. What you're going to do here is move your head as far away from the ground as you can, and then you tuck your chin to your collarbone. And then you're going to come up, and chin is going forwards, keeping your teeth together. You don't want to like clamp down super hard, close your jaw as much as possible. You want to just keep your teeth together so that your jaw doesn't open up. And then you're going to curl your head back down so you're looking at the ground again. Look right, holding in that twist. Look left. I like to think I do an exhale each movement. Inhale back to neutral. So exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. I also like to alternate which one I start with when I go the left right, which you do not have to. If that feels complicated. If your arms start to get tired, right, just shift yourself back further so you have more weight onto the lower limbs. It's totally fine. It's just a slight adjustment to the angle, but it still will work just the same. And that is it for the week 1 tutorial. It should be a solid overview of all of these movements. A lot of them have further descriptions, further videos in that mobility movement guide. So if there's anything else you're still wondering about, you can check that out. You can also send me an email. So I hope you have fun with this week. It's a good one.